Seven CEO Tim Warner has released a public statement on his affair with former staffer Amber Harrison, saying he is filled with the deepest regret and shame. Courtesy. Wochit. Details of a scandalous affair with an executive assistant have left 7 West Media's chief executive Tim Warner embarrassed and ashamed this week and caused the company's share price to tumble. Now Amber Harrison, the former 7 employee who went public with explicit details of the inappropriate consensual sexual relationship, has revealed how the affair caused her to unravel. What began with flirty texts and moved quickly into a full-blown and thrilling affair eventually led her to suffer an emotional breakdown and, she believes, led to the end of her career with the television network. In a detailed statement sent to the media, Ms. Harrison shared a comprehensive timeline of the dalliance between the married executive and administrative worker and the spiral of depression it sent her down. The CEO's mistress said she began to struggle with the relationship when and made to feel invisible when Mr. Warner ignored her at work but happily visited her for sex. The 35-year-old admits she did not object when the powerful media executive first began flirting with her via text message in November of 2012. The flirting escalated into sexual rendezvous at Ms. Harrison's Sydney apartment, 7 functions including a conference in Canberra celebrating Mr. Warner's promotion to CEO in 2013, and events like the 7-sponsored Australian Open tennis tournament in January 2014. According to Ms. Harrison's account, the affair was thrilling to begin with. "I knew he was married. It was never about love. It was about sex and power. He likes having a bit on the side," she said. According to Ms. Harrison, the couple heightened their sexual experiences with recreational drugs and Mr. Warner expressed his satisfaction and enthusiasm for their encounters in sexually explicit text messages. She claimed the TV boss sent her a text in June 2013 referring to his drug use. "I think my performance was drug-assisted. And if you can go dirtier, I am slightly scared. But you are hot, so I will take the chance." About 8 months after the relationship began, in July 2013, Ms. Harrison says it began to take its toll. The turbulent emotional shift coincided with her immediate boss, Nick Chan, then CEO of the company's magazine division, being promoted to Chief Operating Officer of 7 West. This involved Ms. Harrison and her boss moving offices, meaning she and her lover were both now working at the 7 West headquarters in Sydney's Jones Bay, where Mr. Warner was based. It was then that the relationship and working at 7 became difficult, Ms. Harrison claimed. "I could feel myself unraveling because I now had to see him more frequently," she said. "He would walk past and not speak to me or acknowledge me, and it became extremely difficult to manage the situation in the workplace." Although Mr. Warner allegedly ignored his mistress at work, Ms. Harrison claimed the meetings for sex continued. The 35-year-old says Mr. Warner continued to bombard her with sexually explicit text messages. But she grew increasingly angry and depressed and worried about her career, but her lover and boss ignored her requests for a new role and to end the relationship, she claims. In a detailed statement sent to the media, Ms. Harrison shared a comprehensive timeline of the dalliance between the married executive and administrative worker and her spiral into depression. She said she became increasingly angry and resentful that she was invisible to her lover in the workplace. In her statement, Ms. Harrison claimed around this time she suggested the pair cease their affair and she be moved internally into a new role, possibly into a production role away from administration and Mr. Warner. When this request was ignored, Ms. Harrison claimed she suffered an emotional breakdown. Ms. Harrison claims her text messages provide evidence of her increasing desperation at the affair's futility and growing frustration about her career. An unusual bonus of $10,000 awarded to Ms. Harrison by Mr. Warner, who she did not directly report to, appeared to come as an attempt to appease her concerns. In early 2014, Ms. Harrison claims to have sent a text message to her lover saying, "I actually don't know what to say to you anymore." The message was in reference to her confusion between the man she knew in the bedroom with the one he was at work, she claimed. But she said the message just prompted another invitation for sex. Ms. Harrison claims she was depressed and started having panic attacks at work around this time. She began habitually taking sick leave and claims she informed Mr. Warner the situation was killing me and begged to be fired. She claims Mr. Warner responded with reassurances about her future at 7 and by continuing to visit her at home for sex while she was on sick leave. The relationship finally ended in June 2014, almost 2 years after it began. In the weeks that followed the couple's final rendezvous, Ms. Harrison allegedly sent several heated texts to Mr. Warner alleging multiple affairs with other women previously and currently employed at 7. Ms. Harrison said she received $100,000 as part of a confidentiality settlement in August 2014, however was made redundant in a second agreement in November 2014, in which the company offered to pay her $350,000. Her redundancy coincided with an investigation into Ms. Harrison's use of corporate credit cards and personal expenses. Ms. Harrison says payments from the second agreement were not made and decided to go public with damaging details of the affair following a complex and frustrating severance negotiation. Ms. Harrison said she believed her affair with Mr. Warner had ended her career at 7 West and was concerned it may have also led to Mr. Chan's redundancy, which came months after hers. During the past 4 months of negotiation, I have tried everything to secure a third contract to replace the 2-7 we're never going to honor because that was their plan, she said. They wanted me frustrated by the legal process, unable to get to court, broken and penniless, and they wanted to cover up the affair with Tim and the cover-up of Tim. How does one individual fight this massive company with unlimited resources? 7 has rejected the claim that its investigation was a vindictive reaction to the relationship. The company said the audit arose from standard expense reconciliation inquiries before management became aware of the affair. 7 claims it is entitled to withhold payment for non-compliance with the settlement deed. In a lengthy statement sent to news.com.au after details of the affair and expense saga were published, a spokesman for 7 said Mr. Warner had expressed his deepest regret and shame over his affair. However, the network strongly rejected claims of other inappropriate relationships between Mr. Warner and current or former female staff. 7 condemned the inappropriate sexual relationship with Ms. Harrison, 35, as completely unacceptable and deeply regrettable. Mr. Warner apologized for the affair, which began before his appointment as chief executive. This relationship finished some years ago, and I apologized at the time and am still trying to make amends, he said in the statement. I am obviously filled with the deepest regret and shame. My focus is to